are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Jacob, I find a lot of women and a lot of the friends that I have in my day-to-day life are having certain situations where they are either one, falling for everything a guy is throwing at them, or two, hanging on to relationships where the dude is obviously not interested, not trying to move the relationship forward, and really treating them like nothing. Can you, one, give us some insight into why men would do that, stay in a relationship that they know that they're never going to progress with, and two, tell us what a woman should know as warning signs to stay out of that situation.
Well, it's quite simple. A lot of men that do that and stay in relationships that aren't going to progress, they're what I like to call the mommy syndrome. They like the fact that they have a woman that's available to them, that they can do whatever they like to, but you'll always accept them and they can do whatever they like elsewhere. It's simple but complicated. You know, it's easy for them to drag another person down with them, but it's hard for them to grow up and to take this person seriously enough to continue in a relationship with them and to grow with the person. Growth isn't something that everybody welcomes. It's not something that everybody wants to be a part of. So, with that being said, a lot of these women are in situations with a person who's emotionally just a child. They're emotionally a child. They don't have the grown-up, quote-unquote, set of emotions that are necessary for them to feel a certain way or to feel like, you know what, enough is enough, and I should do right by this woman, and I should be honest, and I should love her, and I should treat her right, and I should show her, you know, all the good qualities that a man has to show. But, you know, a lot of guys aren't equipped for that because they've been in these childlike situations for such a long time. What women can do to get away from these situations, or not to be in these situations, period, is follow some of your advice. First off, you got to love yourself before you can expect another person to love you. If you don't love yourself, then another person isn't going to see the person that you are. They're just going to see the insecurities that you have because you don't love yourself enough.
And how do men use those same insecurities against women?
Well, it's very simple. If you feel like you're too big, or if you're a big girl and you feel like you're too big to ever be loved by anybody else, then it's very simple. All I've got to do is make you feel like I love you, and then you won't want to go anywhere because that's you know, the most basic thing that most people want is companionship. If you feel like you have too many kids, then I'll treat your kids beautifully because, you know what, if I keep your kids happy, then you're happy as a woman because, you know, most women do anything for their children. So if your kids love me and you love me, then you're not going to go anywhere and I can continue to do all these crazy things to you and it won't hurt and it won't really cause you to go anywhere. If you feel like you're not pretty enough, all I've got to do is make you feel beautiful. Because if I make you feel beautiful, then you won't want to go anywhere. You'll feel like I'm the only person in the world that makes you feel that way. Using these different tactics and, you know, creating a kind of dependent bond. I'm dependent on you for the right to never have to grow up. And you're depending on me for whatever it is that makes you feel secure within yourself.
Okay, now how do we tell the difference between when a man's really meaning these things that he's saying to us, or when he's using them, clearly using them to simply hold on to us, or have someone there to be the mommy figure or be the quote unquote wifey?
Well, it's hard because it's very hard to discern when somebody's being serious and when somebody's not being serious. A lot of times people aren't being serious just because they can. And the easiest way, though, is to check the sincerity of what they're doing. Because a lot of women are damaged right now because of a lot of things that they go through and a lot of issues that they're having with different types of guys. And pay attention to the sincerity of the person. If you feel like they're cheating, do they defend cheating, or do they tell you, well, look, I'm not cheating and here's the reasons why? You know, do they look at other girls when they're with you, or do they look at you like you're the only person in the world? When they spend time with you and your kids, is it really about the kids, or is it just about buying the kids stuff and showing the kids that, you know, oh, well, you know, I can do this for you and I can do that for you? Or is it really just about spending time with the kids and being around the kids? Does he take the time to ask you about the kids when he's not around? Does he take the time to do things? Does he make you put on a whole bunch of ridiculous things like tons of makeup and high heel shoes all the time, or is he happy with you in sweatpants and your hair not done, your nails not done? These are the things that you got to look at, because then you'll know for sure exactly what's going on. Because if a guy really loves you for who you are, then it doesn't matter what position you're in, he's always going to love you.
Now, can you tell us some of the signs that women should automatically hear if they hear them from a guy's mouth? I mean, I know that we can't be 100%, but based on your experience as a retired playboy, I would like to know, what are the key words and phrases or attempts that we can see, at least name 5, or if you could do a top 10 list of things that if a guy says or does, get out of there because it's just about sex.
Well, top 5, I give you top 5.
Okay.
It's very hard to do top 10 because, everybody's different, but top 5 is, first off, his eyes, where his eyes are. The eyes are the window to the soul, and they give away what your intentions are. If he can never really look you in your eye during a conversation, if his eyes are always all over your body and he makes reference to your body a lot, not to you, but to your body, then he's pretty much just interested in that one thing. If his hand placement when he speaks to you, a man who's interested in you isn't going to put his hand on your thigh or put his hand on the small of your back, because he knows those are uncomfortable spots for women in the beginning stages of any type of relationship, unless he's dealing with a girl that's into that. You always want to put your hand, you always want a man who's going to put his hand on your hand when he's talking to you. He wants to touch your hand, or, a guy that he'll brush your hair away or whatever the case may be, but he doesn't make too much physical contact with what are quote-unquote erogenous zones. He's not trying to touch the small of your back to get close to your butt, or he's not trying to touch your thigh, or he's not trying to give you foot massages in inappropriate places, things like that.
What about a quick question? Sorry to interrupt you. What about dating? What about a guy taking you on a date? Is that a key?
Dating is very important because it shows you. I personally feel that vacation dates are the new thing. Like, regular dates are cool, but that doesn't really show you how a person reacts outside their comfort zone. You want to take a person and put them in different situations to see how they'll handle different situations. And if you never get a chance to see the person handle a different type of situation when they're outside of their comfort zone, then it's not really worth it, because, how they'll deal with you. The dating process is actually like an interview process for a job. When you go for a job, you get 3 or 4 different interviews before you actually get the job you're looking for.
Right.
But when you're dating, it's the same process. You got to go through 3 or 4 different dates before you can actually go ahead and say, you know what? Well, this is the person I want to be with. You got to date the person for a little while to get to know them. And, when you were in high school, you hung out. You went to the mall, you went here, you went there. It doesn't have to be expensive dates. It doesn't have to be overly exuberant forms of expressions. Like, I don't have to take you to the Ritz-Carlton. I don't have to take you to ridiculously overpriced places. I could take you someplace and we could have a great time, and it could cost minimal amounts of money. We go to a lounge and have a few drinks and talk. You always want to be around a guy that takes you to places where it's well lit, public, and you can talk. You want it to be quiet. You want it to have the right ambiance, and you want it to have the right things. You want it to be something that you're interested in, as well as something he's interested in, so you can see how many things you have in common. Because that's the main mistake women make. Women don't go for the guy that they have the most in common with. They always seem to go for the guy that they have the opposites, the most opposites. Opposites don't attract that much. That only works with magnets. It doesn't work with people.
Okay, and now we only have a little bit of time, so go ahead and get us the other warning signs.
Okay, I was on, 2? So 3 would be his conversation on the telephone. If you speak to him on the telephone and he's always kind of trying to get a conversation to something physical, it doesn't have to be sexual, but physical, then you know that he's really a physical person and that's what he's trying to get into. If he can't have an intelligent conversation about anything else, it seems that he's always going back to that, then not really. 4, a guy who doesn't seem to have any future plans, everything is in the here and now. He's not looking forward. He's only looking directly in front of his face. So he doesn't have the substance that you're looking for. If you're looking for a relationship, you're looking for substance. And if he doesn't have substance, then what's the point? 5, all time, like most Like the glaring symbol of a dude that's a playboy is a guy. If you're on a date with a guy, it's your first meeting him, and it's the first time you've ever been with the guy, and he can't seem to keep his eyes off of anybody else, and he's always people watching, and not just because it's a new place for him, or he's looking around to see, what's in the place that you're in, but if he's always looking at another female, if he looks at the waitress when she walks off, if he doesn't maintain eye contact with you because he's looking off to the side to look at another girl's cleavage or something like that. You want to pay very close attention to that, because then you know where his mind is. Because if he can't even focus on the matter at hand, which is trying to get you into a relationship, what happens when you're in a relationship? Is he going to be able to focus on just you, or is he going to continue to focus on all these other things?
Right. I agree.
So those are the top 5 signs for you to stay clear.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Jacob. I would definitely like to ask you some questions for the next episode. The next episode, ladies, is going to be concerning men and cheating, and then we're going to do a small section on friendship, female to female friendships. Thank you, Jacob.
You're welcome.
All right, ladies, I hope that you liked your first episode of Girl Talk Chat Line. If you have any topic suggestions or questions, please leave them on the video below as comments, or feel free to inbox me if you'd prefer something more private. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a great day.